Hi, this is Loren Fogelman, and I have Pam Green with AmCom here with me. We're going to talk about some of the changes that she's been making in her business and really some of the factors that helped her business grow. So, Pam, I just want to say thanks so much for joining with me today and having this conversation.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Lauren. I love chatting with you, and you've done amazing things for me. So I'm totally all about sharing that.
Why don't you go ahead and first share a little bit about what you focus on and what you do with your tax practice?
So we're kind of a split tax practice in the fact that we have a lot of large tax clients who have S corps and C corps and partnerships, and then we also do quite a bit of business during tax season with just easy walk-in returns. Also, during that time of the year, about 40% of my clientele is Hispanic. So we've kind of niched into that market.
Excellent. One of the things that I wanted to really get right into is what were things like in your practice before you and I met and started working together?
So before we met, we'd only been in business for a couple of years. I'd never owned a business before. And I have a business partner, so it's a partnership. And I never done that before. So I was kind of, we had started off with a big bang, and then things had started to kind of go the other way. I was feeling like I didn't know what to do. I was lost at sea. I felt like I was kind of tied in a knot at the end of the rope and just hanging there swinging in the wind.
It sounds like really that you went from maybe working in somebody else's firm to all of a sudden not just doing what you know how to do, but also being a business owner with a partner and
Yeah,
navigating some of those things. Is that correct?
absolutely. And that's a huge change. When you're an employee, things are just very you do your work and you go home. When you're a business owner, it's obviously very different. Doing the work is a minority of what you have to get done during the day.
Mm-hmm. And were there maybe some specific things that you wanted to solve when you started looking for someone to help you out with your business?
Well, I felt like we needed to expand. We needed more clients, and I wasn't really sure how to do that. I needed to make more money. That was actually the bottom line. We needed to make more money. You know, like I said, I have a business partner, and we were both taking money out of the firm, and there just wasn't enough yet. So we needed more. We were taking out loans in the off season to get us through to the next tax season. And while we weren't actually accumulating a lot of debt, I wasn't actually comfortable with even doing that.
Mm-hmm. And with that being said, because money was a factor as far as cash flow goes, did you find that there were any obstacles to making that decision for us working together?
Oh, it was huge because, as you know, you're not cheap, and that's a good thing.
It's an investment.
Yes, it is. It's an investment. And I actually used a personal credit card to pay for part of it. And it was not something that my business partner was 100% on board with. So it did create some tension there. But I really felt that this is what I needed to make the changes that we needed. And so the investment was completely worth it for me, and it paid off.
Can you be a little bit more specific in maybe some of the ways that things paid off for you?
Sure. So one of the first things that you helped me with was raising my prices. And I know that you remember that I was very nervous about that. I think probably everybody you work with is very nervous about raising their prices. So that first year we did a 20 to 25% price increase. I had no pushback. I think I had two or three clients that mentioned it. And we were just very matter of fact with it. The other thing that you convinced me to do, which was also very terrifying, was to take deposits because I'd never done that before. And that really helped with the cash flow at the beginning of January when my payroll was skyrocketing and the money wasn't coming in as fast yet. So those are two things that we did that we got very little pushback from. A few of my older clients didn't like the deposit thing, but I just waived it for them because they've been with me for a long time, and I'm certainly not going to go to war over it. But most of the clients paid it without batting an eye.
When you're talking about deposits, are you talking about with your monthly recurring bookkeeping clients, or are you talking about deposits for your tax clients?
Tax clients. So when they dropped off, they made a deposit. And,
Yep.
with the way, because sometimes it's a month before we can get that tax return done, and especially during COVID times, it's been a longer period of time because I'm a little bit short-handed. But the deposits really help with facilitating being able to get it done quicker, because I can pay people to work on it if you've paid me.
Mhm.
If you haven't paid me, it's much harder.
I know that things are a little bit different now because of COVID than they were prior to, but are there any specific strategies that you can share that help to actually grow your bank account and where you were able to free up your time?
So one of the things that I did was look, like I said, look at the pricing, not only for just tax clients, but for the bookkeeping and payroll that we do. We started selling a few packages, and as time went on, we sold more and more and more packages. So that's also something that has helped with the cash flow and creating the ability to have money year round, as opposed to just a huge bunch during tax
Mhm.
season and then be very lean the rest of the year. So I can, say that as of right now, we are debt free, and this is November. So that has certainly never happened before. We're also, as an S Corp, in the past, we've cut our wages during the leaner times, sometimes as early as June, still taking full wages. So definitely it's made a huge difference in our ability to manage our cash flow packages, taking deposits, and increasing our prices. And right
Well,
now we're looking at doing that again.
one of the things you're talking about is what tax professionals deal with is the highs and the lows because work is very seasonable,
Right.
whereas bookkeepers don't have that. When you're talking about packages, are you talking about packaging the bookkeeping services or is it the tax or both?
We actually usually roll it all into one. I don't typically do books for anybody that I don't do a tax return for. So because I've got plenty of clients, and even though I keep raising the rates and stuff, I've got some people that have come and said, I want you to do my bookkeeping, and I'm going to have CPA over there do my tax return. And I'm like, yeah, we're not interested in that. So that's not something that we do. So typically, if I don't have anybody right now. We typically have done payroll for a couple people, but
Mhm.
as of right now, payroll is one of the things that we're not going to be doing anymore, because we just don't make as much money on it, and are shifting to other more high value things to be working on. So right now we're phasing all of our payroll out.
Excellent. With that, I just want to say kudos to you for being able to cherry pick your clients and not having to just take everybody that walks in the
Right.
door. That's a game changer.
It is. And, I would say to anybody that's new in business that that's what we all do at the beginning is we're hungry, we'll take anything. But once you get more established, you're like, yeah, those aren't the clients that I want. And even the ones that, pay well and we do their tax returns, we've fired a couple of them too, just because they're a pain. And who wants to work with a pain? And, it was a very amicable firing. Just don't think we're a very good fit right now. But that's a thing of beauty too, when you can do that.
Mhm.
Work
Yeah,
with people that you enjoy.
headache clients are actually more costly than
Absolutely.
profitable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And my theory with them is, and it's worked pretty well, is I just keep raising the prices until I'm happy to work with them or they go. And that's actually worked well too, because some of them, the more I raise the prices, the more they get in tune with, well, maybe I shouldn't be wasting her time because her time is valuable. And so they come back better into line and seem to, as you know, if you give it away for free or it's cheap, it's not respected.
One of the things that you're saying, which really shows the amount of change that you've made and the growth that you've had, is you were saying that when you first started out, you were afraid to raise your rates. You were
Right.
very price competitive. And now you're talking about, oh, we just raise our rates in order to be able to, let go of these clients. And we're going to go ahead and raise our rates with all our clients. And
Yeah.
something that was once difficult is now easy for you.
Yes, very easy. Yes, and we've raised rates every year, and by quite a bit every year. And this year it's going to be even bigger bump.
Can you
I
give
know
me a
there's
percentage as to maybe about how much you raise your rates every year?
the first year I raised them between 20 and 25, and I've gone up 10 to 15 every year since then. And
Excellent.
this year it's probably going to be a 20 to 25 with COVID. And I know that there's other people out there that, we've got plenty of work
Mm-hmm.
because our industry didn't shut down, but we can't do it all. And so I want to make more money and work less. So rates are going up again.
Perfect. And with thinking about the rate part of it, how do you actually analyze and quote a project for value when you're no longer charging for time or forms that you're doing for a tax return?
Right. So, and I'm still not great at that, I gotta say, still practicing, although I am getting better. But I think about the knowledge required, because even though I was doing a QuickBooks cleanup not very long ago. And when I first looked at it, it was a huge mess. And I could tell that there was, for one thing, they had their book said they had a net loss of $100,000. I said, "Do you have a net loss of $100,000?" And they're like, "No, we're making money." So, okay, well, we have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And one of your bank accounts is at negative $60,000. Are you really overdrawn $60,000? No. Okay, so this is a huge mess. I've just pointed out to you how out of whack this is. But when I really got into it, the things that were wrong were fairly easy to correct, but fairly easy for me to correct,
Mm-hmm.
because I could look at them and go, oh, well, this is what happened. This is what happened. This was what happened. So for me to fix it wouldn't take very long. But the value is the fact that it wouldn't take very long because I know what I'm doing. Somebody else who had to go through every single transaction would have taken much longer. So I'm not going to quote it by the time necessary. I'm going to quote it by the value of being able to fix your books for you and have you use them as a business tool as opposed to just sitting there and you have no idea what's happening.
Absolutely. Because you were able to fix that person's books, what were some of the things that they were able to do, or how did it impact them? What was the benefit?
So at that point, they somebody else had been doing the book. So I picked
Mhm.
at that point, they're like, we want you to do everything. We want you to do our tax return. We want you to do our books on the monthly basis. So I was able to sell them a package, which was great. And and I'm getting better at pricing. So it was one of the higher price packages that I have. These people are new to business and their business is booming. So they are hungry for an advisor and hungry for somebody to help them analyze it. So they were just really grateful to be able to see what's really happening in their business because they're growing astronomically, and
Mhm.
they really want they said, we're terrified, and after we talk to you, we can breathe and we're sleeping at night now.
Then one of the things that I'm hearing is you aren't just doing the compliance part of the work, you're actually doing the advisory part, giving them some insights about their financials for them to make better decisions.
Right. There's so many businesses out there that just use their books to get their taxes done. And I
Hmm.
see that as a tax preparer every year. Somebody comes in with a box of receipts at the end of the year, and we're doing a year's worth of books after the fact, and they're not using them to do anything with their business. So every time I talk to those people, I'm like, you have no idea where you are. You have no idea what your tax burden is. You have no idea if you're making. Lots of times I'm pointing out, you're not making any money. You've gone an entire year and you haven't made any money. Is this really what, do you have any idea what you're doing here? And so the books, are critical to look at least on a quarterly basis to see if your business is moving in the right direction.
Hmm. I know that people a lot of times think about raising their rates before they actually do that. How long have you been thinking about raising your rates before you started to give your rates a little bit of a increase?
So after when I worked with you, it didn't take me very long because as you said, I'm tenacious and am intentional. And once you had me convinced, which didn't, I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to do this and see what happens. And I did it immediately. So as far as when I'm going to raise my rates again, I'm in Oregon, so tax season has never ended. It's still going on. But I started raising my rates last week.
And good for you, not waiting until January. And
No,
that just shows that you don't have to wait till January to
yeah.
change your rates. But what about before we started working together? How long was that on your mind for?
Well, we had kind of an unusual situation in that we purchased an existing tax business, but it was a very poorly run tax business. So basically, what we bought was the client list, and the owner of the tax business before me charged everybody $60 a tax return, no matter what they had. So we had
Oh
raised
my.
rates when we opened. We're like, yeah, this isn't going to happen. But at that point, I was, real price conscious and, trying to stay competitive with some of um, my competitors. And as of right now, I don't care what they're charging. This is what I'm charging.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that was the shift that you need to have. Um, and the whole, well, what's fair? I think you need to, as business owners, what's fair is what the client happily pays you. And sometimes the client happily pays you way more than you think they
Mm-hmm.
will. And that's fair. I think that, you know, we still do a couple pro bonos, and there's a couple of people that we give huge discounts to, and I don't feel like we're greedy, but business is business, and the reason that I'm in business is to make money.
Mm-hmm. I know that raising rates with current clients is different than new clients walking in the door. What was
Absolutely.
some of the things that you did to approach your current clients in order to avoid pushback?
You know, I guess I did it the chicken way. I just did it. And I didn't actually approach them. I just said, this is what it's
Okay.
going to cost this year. And everybody that came in, I'm like, oh, it's gone up about 20% this year. If you dropped off, that's what I told you. If you sat in my office, I said, this is what it's going to cost this year. I didn't really talk about why.
Mm-hmm.
And
No, you don't
anybody,
need to.
no, and anybody that, one of my employees, I hear her all the time with some of especially the Hispanic clients, when they would complain about the prices going up. She's like, you know what? Bread goes up, milk goes up, gas goes up, everything goes up every year. We raise our prices every year. And so my clients are actually trained now to know that the prices will go up every
Mm-hmm.
year. And the ones that don't like it have gone away.
Yep. You get rid of those headache clients and the
Yep.
price sensitive ones.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Anything that you've seen that you've done to fine tune your system and how that helped to grow your income?
One of the things that we've done is that I think has been really successful is the marketing. So I think marketing is really, you can spend a lot of money marketing and get very little to zero results. And so one of the things that I've stopped doing is paying for advertising. And we don't advertise at all. Really, the only marketing thing we do is that every year we give away a TV and an iPad and some restaurant gift certificates. And the way that you get entered is to refer someone to me or review me on Google or Facebook. I have the highest Google reviews in town, the
Oh
most
my gosh,
and the
it is
highest.
well worth it to give away a
Exactly.
TV
Yeah.
or the
Yeah,
Google reviews.
it's less than $1,000 that I spend on my advertising budget. We still do some of the local, sponsorships of schools and things like that, but that's basically our advertising budget right there. And I think that one thing has gotten us more clients and good clients than
Mm-hmm.
any place else, because there's nothing about our prices in the Google reviews. It just
Right.
says they do a good job and we trust them and things like that.
Perfect. Perfect. Because I know that testimonials are some that really matter. And it's probably one of the things that so many accounting professionals avoid because it feels uncomfortable. But
Right.
if you let them know, hey, we have a raffle for a TV and all you need to
Yeah.
do is this,
Yes.
It makes it a little bit easier.
Absolutely. And they're more than and they know we do it every year. So even if they've done a review, sometimes they'll go and do an updated one or, you know, so they are, most of our clients are very enthusiastic about the things that we do for them. So, and then when we give away the TVs, we usually do a Facebook Live. And so that helps too, because it generates a little bit of interest and spark at that point.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Any hurdles that you actually had to face as just a person and found that you needed to overcome as you were moving your business in this direction?
Well, I think, all of us need to work on confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the things that I worked on. And then I think the other thing that was kind of a hurdle and that I feel like I'm really moving is clarity. Clarity on what I want. Because I think so many of us open the business and we're like, well, I just want to be a business owner and I want to make money. Well, how much money? How do you want it to come in? And that I am a person that only wants to make money, but I want time off.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want to be tied to this business 24/7. I want to have a lot of time off. And so one of the things that I've gotten clarity around is, what do I want my work day to look like? What do I want my work year to look like? When am I willing to put in the hours and when am I willing to step back? And so the clarity has been huge. And that was really hard. Clarity is really hard. And so that's one of the things I thought was really hard, as well as the confidence. The confidence to charge that amount of money and feel good about it, not apologize.
And one of the things that's a little bit different for you than most accounting professionals is that you have a business partner.
Yes.
And usually when there's two partners, one person is the go-getter and the other person puts on the brakes. So what were some of the changes or things that needed to be worked through between you and your partner so that the two of you can be on the same page?
Well, and I got to say, we've definitely had our rough patches. And I didn't realize this when I went into business, but a partnership is one of the most likely to fail. And we're looking at our 8th year, I think. And
congratulations.
Yeah, we're actually doing better than we've ever done before. I think defining the roles has just been, something that we've struggled with. And then my partner is a little more fear-based than I am. So we've had to work through some of that. And like you said, sometimes I'm dream big and go big. And some of the times she has put on the brakes. But one of the things that, it kind of evolves. And I said that we're getting rid of payroll. I wanted to get rid of payroll a year ago, maybe 18 months. And it took that long to get the complete buy-in, not only from my business partner, but from my payroll manager, where I said, this is what we're going to shift to so that we free up your time from doing these payroll tax returns. And then you're going to be able to learn bookkeeping and you're going to be able to take a tax class because that's something she's interested in. And then you're going to be able to make more money because tax preparers make more than payroll managers. So I think that getting buy-in has been one of the things that we've struggled with. And I got to say, my partner has just come a really long way. And I think that I've come a really long way in how I talk to her, because I tend to be a bulldozer and I can run over her. I can run over her day in, day out, every day, but that's not the partnership that I want. And there's resentment then. And so I've had to tailor the way that I talk to her differently. I've had to present things and then go away. Whereas before I was like, well, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And I'm all excited and, I want to talk about this and so now I present things and let her think about it for a while and then come back and talk about it some more. And so that's been a big shift as to how we've done things. I've learned to bulldoze less and she's learned to have a little bit less fear.
Actually, communication and trust are two of the reasons that partnerships split up. And
right.
The fact that you were willing to figure out the communication piece is huge.
Yes, and it made a huge difference. I got to say that things have been way less smoother. We're on the same page a lot more. We discuss things a lot better now because she doesn't feel like I'm trying to bulldoze her all the time. She knows that if she needs to think about it for a while, she can put the brakes on and say, I want to think about this for a while, and
Mhm.
I will respect that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now that you are value pricing your work, anything that you've noticed that's changed in your business or your personal life?
Oh,
I
well, we're
mean,
making
prior to
more.
COVID, you were doing a lot of traveling. I know that.
Yes. Yes. Well, and before COVID, I had the dream job that I wanted. I got to say, we're having to pivot a little bit and we're having to try and figure things
Mhm.
out a little bit, but we're also making tons of money, more money than we've ever made before. And I'm spending a lot more time in the office to make that happen. But, we're searching for new employees, and I'm looking at, maybe outsourcing some of it, and we're looking at ways to pivot that would never have happened before had
Mhm.
this not happened. But we're definitely making more money, and I was having more time off before COVID exploded and things went all wonky. But I do see that it will go back, and
Mhm.
it's been a good, when you're actually doing all the work, also in the business doing all the work, you see stuff that you might not have seen if you weren't doing the work.
Mhm.
So while I've been frustrated on my inability to work on the business because I've been working so much in the business, it's also given me some insights on the things that need to change. And I think the fact that I've been working so much in the business has my partner feels like I understand some of her frustrations better
Mhm.
because she's been the one that usually works in the business.
Mhm.
So I think it's opened up some communication too that will, and she's coming to the conclusion that she doesn't want to be working so much in the business either, which for me is great because I would like to see her working on the business with me.
Mhm.
So it's made some huge changes, and I think the value pricing has allowed us, and the raising the prices has allowed us to step back and say, okay, well, this is work we don't want to do anymore, or this is work we
Mhm.
really like doing, but we need to raise the prices.
Pam, you talked about working on the business as opposed to always in the business prior to COVID.
Mhm.
Can you give me an idea as to maybe what percentage of your time was on the business and what you might have been focusing on?
So I would say I was probably working 40% on the business before.
Mhm.
And it was a lot of networking and meeting people. It was looking at our processes and procedures and refining them. I had been dipping my toes into some resolution work, so I was doing a lot of education on that, and um, looking at how to market that because that's different than marketing the tax
Mhm.
business. So those were the things that I was kind of working on. Resolution work is very high dollar, and it's definitely something that I want to spend. It was going to be what we did on the off season. This year we didn't have an off season.
No off season.
Yeah. And so that's something that I'm very excited to get back to. And it's something my business partner would be very good at also. So, it's a way to shift some
Mhm.
of what we've been doing. And so this year has given us a lot of chance to just analyze what we do and what
Mhm.
we want to do and what we don't want to do. And I have we've been talking and talking and talking. We work with BBSI, and you always do a deep dive with them once a year. And we did a deep dive with them right before COVID hit. And that had all those plans have completely gone by the wayside because that's not what we have anymore. We
Right,
don't even
right.
we don't have those employees anymore. So we are, I believe in pivoting, and I believe that if you pivot and make a mistake, it's no big deal. You just pivot again until you
Mhm.
find the right way to go. So we've really been looking at things. We've even considered, not having employees and having it just be me and Lori, and maybe backing off on a lot of the work that we do and only do really high dollar work. We just haven't decided if that's really what we want to do yet.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
we're spending a lot of time with clarity, figuring out what we want to do.
Right.
And so that's kind of where we are right now.
Well, it sounds like your next move will be very up leveling,
Yes,
whatever you decide to make happen.
yes.
And
Something
any,
has to give because
yeah,
we can't do what we've been doing.
right, right. But the thing for you is that you and Lori have that awareness and you're willing to make a change as opposed to just sticking with the status quo out of fear and worry.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. There was a time in our lives when we felt like saying we're not taking any new clients was a death knell. And now we're saying, you know, maybe we are always taking new clients, but we've got to get rid of a whole bunch of the ones that we have because
Hmm.
we can't service them all.
That that's actually a very strategic move. Anything else that you wanted to mention that maybe we overlooked during our conversation?
I think one of the things that people need to realize about working with you, and when they think about it and they're like, well, do I need a coach? Do I not need a coach? One of the things to keep in mind is that while you did teach me some things I didn't know, a lot of the stuff I already knew, but you were able to move me faster than I would have moved by myself.
Mm.
And so you were able to help me shift gears and push me to where I needed to be. Being a very strong willed person, I don't have a lot of people that call me on my crap. And you were certainly willing to do that. And that was huge for me. That
In a
helped
loving
me.
way.
Of course, but in a way that moved me forward
Mhm.
and helped me realize I was bulldozing and helped me realize that it was fear that was keeping me from raising my prices. I knew that I needed to raise my prices, but you helped me do it way faster than I would have done it on my own. And so that's one of the things to remember. If anybody out there is thinking about working with Loren, do it because it'll move you faster in the direction that you need to go.
I really appreciate that. It's like compounding interest. The sooner you get started, the sooner you achieve
Absolutely.
that wealth place.
Absolutely.
Pam, how can people reach you?
So you can find me at our phone number is 541-884-1755. My email address is pam at amcomtaxkfalls, amcomtaxkfalls.com. And so you can please reach out to me. Love to chat with anybody. I have a Facebook page. We also have a website, AmCom Tax K Falls. So if anybody would like to chat about my relationship with Loren and how that has happened, or you need some tax advice, just reach out and chat.
Pam, I appreciate the conversation about how you were able to strategically grow your business as well as your bank account. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Loren.